I would like to take this moment and let everybody join this prayer with me. In God we find strength, and then in our Savior, the beaver corn, we find money. And at those times where we see the red, we got to think about all the loved ones that who endured and who give us strength in those hard times. And at the same time, guys, your boy Wonder is back. And guess what? We are gonna dig ourselves out of the little glory hole we digged ourselves for MMAT for the past 16 trading days now. We're close. We're close to that 19-day threshold. But guess what? This whole sickness thing, even though I still cough sometimes, the whole sickness thing, the whole moving thing, the whole traveling thing, somehow I think I get this epiphany that it doesn't matter if the stock price goes up or down, guys. There's always going to be strategy. There's always going to be execution plan. There's always going to be an exit plan. And your boy Warner can always find a way to make money in this market. But this is not what we're going to talk about in this video. In this video, we're going to talk about what the hedge funds truly don't want you to know. And also, this is our last AMC related videos, okay? Because I am so sick of people mentioning synthetic long positions. Guys, you cannot really hold synthetic shares. It's like making a hypothetical. See, even I started coughing like that. It's like the synthetic long thing is being old news, guys. That was from January. And just because you see similar flow doesn't mean that the flow equilibrium is not going to reach ever. And for those of you who are just unsavable, alright, I do have the savior complex, okay? But I think those of you who are just rambles among that thing and just keep going back to that idea and fail to adapt to the new market condition, I think you guys are unsavable, okay? Number two and I had a conversation and we're like, man, not all hot chicks are dateable. You guys are just like that. So if you love our content, keep watching. You know, a lot of things are funny and you keep a laugh. But at the same time, like, stop like sending those comments where just, or first of all, accuse me of a FUD or accuse me of, you know, paid bear or something like that. Something fishy, guys. On the screen, I'm gonna put up how much I've lost in MMAT. And I say that with smiling on my face. Why? Because we're gonna dig ourselves out of the little glory hole we created ourselves, okay? At the same time, we just decided not to do any AMC related content anymore. Nobody watches that, okay? I know, number two and I started to become a view slut. But still, okay, it's the same thing. Also, like, there's so much comments that just, like, if you really want to understand how synthetic long position works, go read a paper online about option flow equilibrium. And also, after you listen to this entire video, you will understand why the hedge funds last longer. Endurance is the key to good bedroom manners, guys. Why they last longer and why we as retail players, we do have the thrust and the explosive ability to sort of enhance a temporary, let's just call it a squeeze, okay? Because, you know, when things gets a little bit in a bedroom, things get a little bit messy here, okay? But at the same time, like, you can't really outlast them. Why? The answer is in this video. What is up, dudes and dudettes? This is Diligence here, and today we're going to talk about why the hedges could last longer. I know all of you old hacks out there is thinking, you know, we're not really talking about lasting longer, but we are, you know what I mean? Yeah, I am talking about lasting longer, but not what you really think about that you want to last longer, but how do you last longer in a market? Or more importantly, why at the end, you know, the hedges always win, or for the most part, let's just say 90% of the time they win. There are also cases in history where retail wins, and I believe our community will win eventually. But before we win, we need to understand their tactics and why, for the most cases, statistically speaking, they last longer. Well, it's not because they have a bigger tool downstairs. It's not because they have some enhancement or start drinking those. Remember those days where your parents tells you to don't drink Coke and onion and ginger together? Am I the only one who, or is that an Asian thing where you drink Coke, ginger and onion together? I mean, again, I'm not a medical doctor, so if you really want to try this novel method, maybe you should go try it. I heard it works wonders, but the components of lasting longer in the market is you have to have a psychological edge and you have to have a capital edge, okay? And as hedge funds, they have both. And then they have a way more psychological and capital edge than any of us or just like a community of us combined. Unless we eventually decided to form our own hedge fund, but I think that's 5 years or maybe 10 years in the making. But maybe one day we're going to get there. And we're going to become one of those ethical hedge funds who just demolish or annihilate those bad ones, okay? But before I get into talking about psychology or capital, like what really is hedge fund, right? And I think hedge funds have a very bad connotation on when the medias are talking about them. You know, all of us blames Bear Stearns and the Lehman Brothers cases in the financial crisis on hedge funds. And that's not really the case because hedge fund is only one part of the puzzle here, okay? You have the prime mortgages, you have the hedge funds, you have the banks, you have the investment banks, right? And you have all the politicians they've been feeding their money to. They have, you know, all of the other places where the hedge funds build infrastructure, and then because the hedge fund built infrastructure, therefore they sort of provided the money as a bridge for leeways to all these, you know, media companies. And that's why media companies also are basically bulldogs of hedge funds. They're like their guardian angel. And then sometimes, you know, when hedge funds sort of spread out a certain news, the media follows, and the media is they're not really forced to feed you false information, but they're feeding you information that you think is correct. And a lot of times informations are situational. We can get into that, right? It's more of like a psychological and philosophical thing than you think. And a lot of times people are like saying, oh, facts are facts. No, facts are not facts. Because a lot of times a fact, let's just say, a fact on this channel is DD's been seeing red in MMAT, right? That's a fact, right? And I can prove to you guys. Like before, I've already posted a screenshot of how much I've already lost. But in order to interpret that fact, is DD really losing money because on the surface he's losing money? No, because it's in terms of like a bigger time frame, maybe we are losing money right now, but in another longer horizon, maybe in a year or maybe in a 2, we might be making 3 times, 4 times, 10 times the money, right? And because we have to always adapt, we have to always look at the information we're given, and we form a better strategy by evolving and evolving and evolving. That's why informational facts, even though they're considered facts, they're situational. And usually a very neutral informational facts can carry direction if we start interpret those, okay? But if you guys want me to get more into those information or giving you guys examples of how hedge funds manipulate using the media and how, like, why I stopped reading these random reports and stopped reading. A lot of times when you're reading articles online, I'm thinking of CNBC, you have to have, like, see it in a grain of salt, okay? You have to be very critical. That's why a lot of times when you go to these hedge fund conferences or investor conferences, a lot of times people are talking about they're going to be saying like in order to be a good PM portfolio manager, you have to be very creative a lot of times. And for you, money is a weapon, but also psychology is a bigger weapon because retail flow are very easily manipulated and they're very easily, what is a good word to describe it? They're really easily scared And I'm going to get into that. The core problem is the hedge funds are playing with other people's money with a long time horizon. We're playing with our own money with a short time horizon. Because, Captain Crunch still need to feed his kids. I mean, I don't have my kid, but I still need to pay for my rent, right? Number two, still need to buy his girlfriend an LV bag, right? And also all of you who are, over 50-year-old, you might be getting a trophy wife, and trophy wife needs your credit card to swipe and for all those kind of things, right? And if you're using your own money to trade, you have a less of a margin of error there, okay? Because when it's gone, it's gone. It's all of your years of hard work and everything. But when you're trading with other people's money, it's a total different story. But anyway, let's get back to this, okay? The art of the hedge. Like, think about it. Why is it called a hedge fund? One of the most common misunderstanding is the hedge funds don't want you to know. Like, they don't really care if they have a bad connotation or derogatory connotation when you talk about hedge funds. What is hedge? Hedge is literally meaning you don't want to expose yourself for too much risk, okay? Like if you have a long position on long MMAT, at the same time you probably have a short position on semiconductor as a whole, right? Even though it's irrational because semiconductor industry is going to be in shortage for the next 6 years due to political changes and due to like the whole international manufacturing horizon, right? And they usually hold multiple positions. Sometimes they hold long on oil and they sort of short natural gas a little bit, but then they also bought some energy ETF that also is long in natural gas. Eventually, like no matter if you're going long or shallow or short, or you're going deep or you're going like shallow, you know what I mean here? Life is all about changing that position, guys. Like when they are structuring their multiple positions, they not only give themselves a breathing room, but also give their own capital a breathing room. Because a lot of times you want to have capital in reserve to save your position, or to, one of those great sayings about trading is you gotta add the winners, you gotta cut the losers. When you cut the losers, you take a temporary loss and you use the liquidity to add to your winners, right? It's like some of you back in the old days used to, well, nowadays it's not the guys, it's the girls, right? A lot of time in the Silicon Valley, you have 4 guys to 1 girl. So what would the girl do? Because you have so many options on the market, no pun intended, you started dating multiple guys at the same time. You start talking to them multiple times at the same time. This is what we talk, just like the hedges. They build multiple positions in case one thing fails. Okay, and if there's a balance, there's always going to be math. And why don't you think these guys are hiring quants from Harvard or hiring smart people? Maybe like me, right? But I'm not that smart yet. My plays and my psychology are based on like 50 years of trading experience combined with all of my mentors, and because of all the books, I was so bored, so I started reading books. I mean, I should have probably spent more time partying. That's why probably I'm still single right now. But anyways, there's gonna be a lot of math into hedging. You have to understand the flow, understand like what are some opposing positions, what are some positions with high correlation, what are some positions with negative correlation, positive correlation. You build this entire grand plan into your portfolio. Like you want to mitigate risk from this side, risk from the other side. And another thing you have to understand is the reason why it's called the art of the hedge or a hedge fund is because there's always going to be a risk manager there, and the job of the risk manager is to make sure that the firm doesn't or basically introduce too much risk into the portfolio. Because even though if they're trading with other people's money, they still have an investor or an LP to report to, right? And then their objective is to make money. To make money, they form these very complex matrices of positions in order to in our case, is grab our money and just run into it. Because the market is a competitive space. Like in order to win money, somebody has to lose money, right? And I understand a lot of you are a part of the ape community and a part of our beavercorn community. But one of the harsh realities you have to understand is in order for the hedge funds to make money, we have to essentially spend 4 or 5 times more time, or hard work into sort of tricking them into a situation like on early June when it tricked them into AMC. But do you really think without adaptation they will fall for the same tricks again? I mean, there's a saying, right? You fool me once, good for you. Fool me the second time, It's just annoying. Fold me third time, I'm just dumb, right? And hedge funds are not dumb. They're usually, seasoned people who's been managing money for over 10 years. They have multi-billion dollars under asset under management. The reason why all the LPs keep coming back to them is because they have a way of making things work. No matter if they're cheating, they're using great technology to beat the market, like quants, right? Using mathematical models like, Renaissance technology. And James Simons, if you see my video and you want to hire me, no matter what I'm doing tomorrow, if you said, all right, DD, come here, we need you, I'm going to be in New York next day. Okay. But anyways, let's keep talking about risk management, right? And they usually plan a long-term position and they plan a short-term position. And unlike retail players, all retailers thinking is, I want to get rich fast and quick. I entered MMAT at $10. Tomorrow I want to see a 20% increase. I want to see a 10% increase. I just want to see that sweet dollar, that sweet like $2 increase on all my shares, and I can just pump and dump. Like a lot of you will be like, like, shame on you, all these pump and dump schemes. But deep down, your own psychology is just like every other retail player. All of your time horizons are 5 to 7 days, not even 7 days. Some of your planned time position is 1 to 2 days, 1 to 3 days. I mean, I didn't made money on day trading. I think one of my viewers were pointing out that I did have outrageous return on day trading. But the problem with that is when we're making money in day trading, we're relying on the market volatility itself, and we're relying on the bullish volatility. But right now we're in a very uncertain period of time, so we have bearish volatility. When you have bearish volatility, all our thinking beforehand, basically we have to do the exact opposite of what we're doing. Okay, so that's the hardest part. I mean, again, risk management is all about math to the T's. That's why you see all of the Asians, a bunch of Asian people going into the hedge fund business. Why? Because, I mean, we're low lifers, okay? And we have, because some white guy back in the old days, or maybe some other people that's saying that, Asian guys have small pee-pee. That's why girls just don't like us anymore. So what we do when we're lonely, we just go do math, okay? I think I don't want to make this video too long, so this is going to be part 1, and there's going to be part 2 and part 3 on this video. So if you want to see a part 2 on this video, please comment down below and like this video. If this video gets to 500 likes or more, I'm going to have a part 2 coming out. And to sort of put a structure out on part 2, especially when we're talking about mental edges, right? The hedge funds, mental edges, the capital edges, we have to talk about 2 main concepts. One is OPM. Now, for those of you who are on Urban Dictionary, that's not what you're thinking about, okay? OPMs are other people's money. When you're trading with other people's money, your psychology is completely different. Your left hand hemisphere and your right hand hemisphere are completely different, okay? And the versus UOM, which is your own money. When you're trading with your own money, you feel the squeeze, you feel the losses, you feel the wins. You're riding this roller coaster. But the problem is, in order to be the best trader you can, you have to cut your emotion out of the trade. You have to cut your personal opinion of the stock out of the trade. All you have to do is you have to master the art of the flow. You're playing with the flow here. Especially for hedge funds, they're playing with the flow, they're playing with their position, they're playing with adaptation of other people's position here. Okay? I think this is it for the video. I don't really want to get it too long because A, I want to make more videos, and B, I want to see how you guys see those kind of videos, okay? And also I just want to see that sweet likes. And number 2 is saying, if we don't get enough likes or views on videos, we just stop making those formatted videos. We should just make things that people like. But anyways, for me, the purpose of this channel is is sort of like an echoing chamber, in between my community and number 2 and I, so we will understand what you guys really want, and we can provide that kind of content. At the same time, it's more like my emotional channel to letting out, and I have a lot of thoughts. I have a lot of plans to get us out of the glory hole we dig ourselves, okay? And a lot of you are gonna be like, oh my god, it must be joking. No, I'm not. There's actually a elaborate plan, and we're gonna use math to explain to you guys how it can be accomplished, okay? And hopefully the hedge funds are not watching that video when I post it out. And that's why I'm talking to number two. I was like, maybe we should just start actually making Patreons, because every Patreon videos are private. We can say whatever we want on there. We're not gonna get censored on there. We can talk about oil future, lithium future, why the political environment is very toxic in terms of energy plants, and why like metamaterial is going to be the future because of battery formation, and because of like the entire human history. The future of human race is in space. If we don't get up to space in the next 50 years, right? And also we can talk about a lot of elaborated trading strategies. We can, like, the communication channel is more clear, it's more direct, and yeah, if you guys like this kind of video, smash that like button, and we can beat that YouTube algorithm. At the same time, if you haven't subbed, or if your parents or your friends who are also interested in trading and haven't subbed, just tell them to sub. Because honestly, we provide so much great content that other YouTubers don't really want to talk about. They just want to avoid talking about. But for us, guys, we just want you guys to be more educated, so we don't dig a bigger hole and jump a community inside of it. And also, I want to apologize for me being a little bit, not really depressed, I'm just a little bit low, okay? Because when you're sick, when you have like jobs, you gotta do overtime. Okay, guys, I'm trying to sort of build this company a inventory management system, because their stuff is just really sucked, so they fly me over to do the job, for those of you who are sort of interested in what I'm doing. And at the same time, back then I was like, I probably need this main hustle now, because the MMAT stuff is just in red day and day and day. It almost feels like we're having our own man period for the past few months, past few weeks, because we're all in red. And the entire community is like the halo, or the I don't know, the tonality of our, like, sort of our mental feel is literally just all in the red. Everybody's so depressed. Don't be. We're gonna dig ourselves out, okay? And not only we're gonna dig ourselves out, like, even if George is this uncoachable, we're not sure yet, right? Because it's only been like a couple of days. Maybe he haven't got a chance to look at it, or he still thinks that we're not trustworthy enough, or maybe the IR guys that they are already hired there has been spreading bad news about us. But we didn't do a lot of like sort of IR research on our own. We called the IR team of metamaterial. Turned out that Mark guy is not as patient as we want him to be. But anyways, even if, okay, the worst case scenario is, even if George is not as coachable as we thought, we can still get out of this. We might need to play dirty a little bit. We might need to sort of bash our own morality for a little bit, but at least at the end of the day, we're gonna make some money. Anyways, if you haven't sub to this channel, because it's gonna be so great. All right, see you guys on the upside.